And good afternoon. This is Coach Big Pete of DeepDishFootball.com. It is time now for actually a fun time. I like to do it. College football week 7. It's got to be 7 now. Yeah, it's probably week 7 now in college football, and it is time now just to talk about some games. It's fun for me. Talk a little bit about the news. Big news. Gary Anderson leaving Oregon State. To nobody's chagrin or surprise. The same guy that I think it was Utah State to Wisconsin and Wisconsin to Oregon State. He's bitching and complaining about his coaching staff. Agreed with some of his comments, but also this is the same guy that left the Wisconsin for Oregon State, which makes absolutely no sense. Just so he could be closer to his West Coast. First of all, the guy should have never left. He should have stayed at Utah State. Been a smarter move. And I agree with him. Some of the college coaches now, it's like public infighting, and it's a very scary time to be a college head coach when your assistant coaches don't have your back. And it's the same way in high school football when coaches don't have your back. It's pretty scary right now, but it is what it is. It's part of the game, and it's a sad state of affairs, but you got to understand it. So let's go into some of the games. Big game that I'm looking forward to. And it got postponed to Georgia Tech at Miami. I think because of the rain. Probably got that wrong. Clemson at Syracuse this Friday. That's a good game to look out for. Washington State at California. It's okay. Nothing special. TCU at Kansas State. Snyder always plays good ranked teams when they're at Kansas State. So it's the game to watch. Michigan and Indiana. I have it as my little upset watch. I think Indiana can do good against the University of Michigan. They're looking good. They got a how do you say a team that follows their coach to the ends of the earth, and that's great to see. NC State, Pittsburgh. That's going to be sort of a good game. That's always been a good game, especially with Dave Doran. He's got his team riding high against Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh has always been Pittsburgh. Texas Tech versus West Virginia. I got Texas Tech in that one. Florida State versus Duke. Florida State. Actually, I'll give it to Duke. Florida State's on the downswing. In the Big Ten Toilet Bowl, it's Rutgers versus Illinois. I got Illinois. Uh, Auburn at LSU. Ooh, that's tough. I'm going to have to give that as the LSU upset. Look out for that game. That's actually a great game to look out for. LSU could upset Auburn. Check that out. You definitely want to check that game out. Purdue at Wisconsin. I got Wisconsin, but Purdue is playing good football. Watch out for them. Baylor's going to lose to Oklahoma State no matter what. And by the way, Gundy, Coach Gundy, looks like Blanka from Street Fighter. I'm not going to say. I'm just saying that right now. The dude looks like Blanka from Street Fighter. Honestly, I'm not. I'm not lying to you. Not joking to you. He looks like Blanka from Street Fighter. Mike Gundy, the head coach of Oklahoma State, looks like Blanka from Street Fighter. Just saying. I know. I know it's gonna people are like what? I'm like, look up Blanka and look up Street Fighter. He looks like Blanka from Street Fighter with his hair, his long ass mullet. Um, Iowa State big win over Oklahoma. Iowa State and Kansas. That's going to be a sort of a good game. I got Iowa State in that game. Iowa State is looking good. Campbell's doing a great job. Northwestern at Maryland, two upstart teams. Good game to watch. Uh, Red River Rivalry, Oklahoma versus Texas. I got Oklahoma in that one. Uh, Oklahoma's Ohio State versus Nebraska. Ohio State's going to try to come back. Utah at USC. Michigan State at Minnesota is a good game. PJ Fleck with Minnesota doing pretty good. UCF, East Carolina. Go for UCF. Florida, Texas A&M was going to be a big game, but not anymore. Arkansas at Alabama. Missouri at Georgia. Georgia's looking great. I think they're going to be in the BCS uh, 4-game tourney, whatever it's called now. Washington at Arizona State. Washington, Michigan State at Michigan, Minnesota. I talked about that game. Cincinnati South Florida, I got Cincinnati in the upset game. Boise State, San Diego State, I got San Diego State. UCLA at Arizona, I have Arizona winning that game. Um, one more game, looking for one more game. That's about it. So those are my games. I think the big talk was Gary Anderson leaving Oregon State. It was a bad hire. It was bad for Gary Anderson to leave Utah State. It was an absolutely stupid move for Gary Anderson to leave Utah State for Wisconsin because all the talk was that Gary Anderson was going to. Gary Anderson was not about up the big schools, and he decided to go to Wisconsin, and it was bad for him. And there's some schools where the college coach doesn't fit, and some of those college coaches have to understand this is not a good idea to go to this school, and they gotta because what's best for the family, and it, it would it was just mind-boggling that he went to Wisconsin, Gary Anderson, and then he went back to Oregon State. He should have stayed at Utah State. Simple as that. But that's the way the cookie crumbles and everything else. It's going to be an interesting college week this week. Last week we had some of our bigger upsets. This week I'm expecting some more upsets. I think this is going to be the year of the upsets, and I think it's going to be a good one. Was another one. I don't want to talk Heisman, but for quarterbacks, and I'm going to say this, and I said this again. There's a lot of too much hype going on with these junior, sophomore, redshirt quarterbacks for the NFL. I'm starting to think last year was the better year for a year of quarterbacks. That's just my personal belief. I think Trubisky, the guy from Clemson, I think the guy from Cleveland, he had a bad game. He's going to be good. So, and I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be a starting quarterback for Kansas City. So I'm just saying that right now. So that's just my personal feeling. All right, be sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter and Facebook. Please visit deepdishfootball.com. Please feel free to leave a donation. I'll put the donation on the page and everything else. This is Coach Big Pete. I think it's week 7. We're halfway there of college football. The games and review and the pick'ems and all that stuff. And if you have any questions, please email me at coachbigpete@fp@gmail.com.